Hey guys, what's up? Merry Christmas. This is Luke and Jackson Hershey from the Twin State Podcast, and I hope y'all are having a great Christmas. I know we are. And guys, one of our favorite things to do on Christmas is just to chill out on the couch and watch movies all day long. And just to start us off, Luke, what are some of your favorite Christmas movies?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think obviously we got Rudolph, the Christmas Story, Elf, and really, today's been awesome. We got up, came downstairs, ate breakfast, just got to spend some time as a family, went and opened presents. It's been a pretty awesome day. But like you said, one of my favorite movies is the Christmas Chronicles, and I think it's my family over the years that's become one of our go-to movies for Christmas time. And we are so blessed because we have a good friend right here in Charlotte. Darby Camp is going to join us on the podcast. We are so excited. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's go. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Twin State Podcast. And we got a really, really special guest today, star of the Christmas Chronicles, Darby Camp. Hey, thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I guess really the first question we wanted to ask you is, you've done so many amazing movies, but when did you really start acting?
Yeah, I've kind of been doing it since I was like kind of at a young age. My mom is also an actress, and she like went to college for it. And my sister and I, who's older than me, when we were younger, she like had us with an agent already and like had us doing some like auditions. And I remember like my first real like project I did, I think I was 6, and it was for the TV show Drop Dead Diva. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but it filmed in Atlanta. So my mom picked me up early from school and we drove down to Atlanta, and it was just a few nights, but it was a lot of fun. And I think I guess about 6 when that was like my first like big project.
Man, was it surreal for you getting to work on a project that young for just a couple of days?
It kind of was, because like I felt like really cool. My mom picked me up from school because I was like, bye guys, like I'll see y'all next week, like I get to leave. And like there were other kids who were playing my older siblings, and like I felt like I was like, wow, I'm hanging out with big kids. And like it was really surreal, like the whole experience of like, I don't know, it was like fun because it felt like playing make-believe, but just in front of a lot more people than at home.
Well, do you remember like was there ever like the dream of becoming an actress, or like was that almost, I don't know, like just that you were, from because you started at such a young age? Like, do you remember like wanting to be an actress and like going through that process, or did it almost just kind of happen?
It kind of just happened. I do remember my sister, when I think I was about 6 and she would have been 8. She had an audition because she was doing like commercials and stuff like that, and she had to cry, and she was like, I don't want to like cry in front of the camera. I spend my whole day trying to be happy. And I was like, that sounds fun. I'll do it. And I guess from there I kind of got in the head, like got in my head, like being an actress, like that sounds fun, like getting to pretend. And like I guess from then like after each project and each audition, I kind of just fell more in love with it.
Dude, that's really cool. And I think like going back, especially like our favorite movie around Christmas time really is Christmas Chronicles. And like getting to be in that movie like at such a young age, I'm sure that was so incredible. But do you remember like what the process of like actually getting to be in that film was like?
Yeah. When I first got the audition, it was a self-tape, and I was working on, I was filming in New Mexico for a movie called Dreamland, and it was just kind of like a little independent thing, and I think it's on Amazon Prime now if you guys want to go watch it. It was with Margot Robbie and Finn Cole, and it was just a fun little thing in New Mexico. And so when we got the self-tape, we were in a hotel, and I remember my mom and I were scrambling. We were like, we have to figure out a way to like set up a backdrop and like put in this tape. And I was so excited because I've always like loved Christmas. It's always been my favorite thing. So I was like, a Christmas movie would be so cool. And we sent in the self-tape, and then they reached back out and to do a like callback with the director and some producers. And at the time, like Zoom wasn't really a thing, and they were like, we're going to Skype it. And I was like, that's so cool, like doing it virtually.
That's awesome.
But so I remember being in the hotel, and I was so nervous, and like meeting with the director and like just like doing the whole audition again with them on a Skype. And then I remember, I think I was finally at home when we heard the news. My parents told me, they were like, you're going to go to Canada and you're going to be in the Christmas movie. And I was so excited because in my head I was like, oh my gosh, Christmas all the time. It was a really cool experience.
Man, what was your favorite part about filming that movie?
Being in Canada was cool because like when I was younger, I didn't really like think about Canada. I was like, what even is that?
What is Canada?
Like Canada. So getting to be in Canada was a lot of fun. And Christmas every day was pretty fun too, honestly. But one of the main things that I loved about Christmas Chronicles was there are a lot of stunts. And stunts are so much fun. And like even working in the sleigh, we always had to be like hooked up in a wire, like when the sleigh would be moving. So we always had to have like a harness on under our clothes, and it was pretty uncomfortable, but I mean, it was worth it. It's a lot of fun. And like falling out of the sleigh was like super cool because I got to practice like doing like hanging like from the wires and like doing flips and stuff in the air. It was so cool. I love doing stunts.
Did you do all your own stunts, or did other people ever do them for you?
I had a stunt double, and like there's a really funny picture of me on set because I had a stunt double and like a photo double and like a stand-in, and like we all had on the same outfit, and they were all adults, and I was just like the only kid. But I did have a stunt double, and she would do a lot of the super hard stuff. I do remember there was one scene where I had to like climb up the pole, and they were like, we're gonna have her do this, and then like jumping from the pole into the sleigh. And then I was like, I want to try it. Like, I want to try it. And they're like, I don't know. And then like I kind of just went and did it anyway. And they're like, wow, okay, you're actually like, you actually can do that. So I did a little bit more than I feel like most people do without their stunt double, but she did most of the like jumping like onto the sleigh and like that kind of stuff, and she was super cool. She's since passed away, but she was super fun to work with, and like thinking about that, she was super nice.
Was there any parts of filming that were like, I don't know, like nerve-wracking or like kind of scary walking in that big of a set for your first time? Or actually, I don't know if it was your first time walking that big of a set, but was that nerve-wracking at all?
It was definitely nerve-wracking. I feel like one that kind of jumps out at me is like on the second one, Christmas Chronicles 2, the Santa's Village was such a huge set.
Sure.
And like there was one scene where they had like the camera on a crane, they were like zoom out, so there was like nobody on the set because they had like did such a wide shot. And like walking through it, and like I was really scared that I was gonna mess it up and we'd have to keep starting over like the big shot. And I was like, I really don't want to mess it up and like have them do it again because it was so long. And like the first day of Christmas Chronicles 1, we were doing like pre-production in like the studio, and when I was meeting Kurt Russell for the first time, I was so nervous because like my dad and my grandpa talked about how cool he was, and I had seen Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It was from like the 80s, and I was so nervous to meet him, but he's a lot of fun, and like he just made it really easy by having such a big personality.
Yeah, what's he like in real life? What's it like working with him?
He's honestly like exactly what you would think he'd be. Like he has so much energy and a really big like presence when he walks in the room, but he's like also so down to earth, and he just feels like he's your buddy. And if you're gonna play like Santa, you really have to play into the idea that you're Santa Claus, and he really like went full out. Like he like, I don't want to say nerd, but he got nerdy with it. And it was super cool to see like how even as like a grown man, how excited he got about portraying Santa.
Sure. And I know y'all filmed a lot with CGI specifically. Was that hard to mess around with, or were you pretty easy to work with it?
Definitely in the beginning. On the first one, I was 10, and so like kind of wrapping my head around it, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna be talking to nothing, and I have to act like something is like alive right in front of me. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so we'll give it a try. And a lot of the time there was like actually nothing, but they would have like a tennis ball like on like a stick, so like I had something to look at, or they would like hold a tennis ball on like a pole and like move it. And it was really hard at first to get used to like talking to literally like nothing.
Yeah, that's weird.
And they would have someone offset. It was usually the director, Chris Columbus, would do like the elf voice.
That's
and like I would try not to laugh because he'd be like really funny with it. But like as the like for the second one and like as time went on, it got a lot easier.
Yeah, I can't even imagine like trying to talk to something that's not physically there, like how hard that would be.
So hard.
What like when you look at like your acting journey so far, who like have been your favorite actors to work with? Because you've gotten to work with some like crazy people.
Yeah, it's honestly everyone I've had such a good experience with, and everyone's been so kind. But Big Little Lies was one of my first big things. I was 8, and I played Reese Witherspoon's daughter, and like she really like made me feel like confident, and like it was super nerve-wracking because of how young I was and like working with a lot of adults. So she would really help me feel at ease and like important too, and that I wasn't just like a little kid like who's just there. Like she really made me feel like seen. And I really appreciate that. And I got really close too with Nicole Kidman, who was also in the show. And she has 2 kids that are my age, and so I became good friends with them. And she was super sweet, and so like the girls would invite me over to their house, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, wait, this is so cool!" But at the time, I didn't really know like who she was as an actress because I was so young. But my mom would be like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." I'd be like, "It's just like my friend Sunday's mom."
That's so funny.
Everyone like really was so good at like making sure all the kids on set for Big Little Lies were just like felt seen and important.
Is it hard to go from something like Big Little Lies, which I don't know, it's a little darker, to going on Christmas Chronicles, which is like you said, Christmas all the time? Is that like, is it hard to play characters like so different, or do you kind of enjoy that process?
I kind of enjoy it. It's like in Big Little Lies is a lot darker and more adult, and my character is super sassy and like she's very bubbly, and I really liked playing that role because like she talks to her mom, and I'm like, oh, so I can talk to an adult like this, but only on set, of course. But a lot of my characters have been like pretty similar. I haven't had a role yet where I've had to be like super like drastically like another like person kind of. So it's been like pretty easy, I'd say, to like go back and like forth.
Has it been hard throughout your acting career to balance school with acting?
Yeah, it's definitely been an experience. Leaving school is like super hard, like socially, because to me, I feel like when I'm away, it feels like my life here is like paused. And then I come home and I'm like, wait, like they kept going, and like school, like everything kept going without me. And so when I come home, it's hard to kind of like get back in the groove with like friendships and like group stuff like that. But a lot of my friends have been like super cool about it, and I've been at the same school since kindergarten, and so most of them are like, oh, that's just Darby, she leaves for a little bit and then she comes back. And school has been kind of like hard. When I'm on set, I have a teacher or a tutor, so like I still like it's easy to stay on track and stuff like that. But at high school, it's a lot easier to kind of go back and forth, and now with like technology, it's a lot easier to stay on track. And same with like friendships, like staying in touch through like FaceTime or like texting definitely helps a lot.
I can't even imagine like the back and forth. But how has like your relationship with Jesus kind of been important for you throughout your acting and like and personal, like on and off screen?
Ever since I was little, I've always had, I feel like, a strong connection with my relationship. And definitely like the past year, I've really like have felt myself getting closer to him, and like going to Young Life has definitely helped, and like kind of like staying focused on like reading my Bible and making time for him. And in this industry, it's to me been like a huge thing for me to have him by my side and like know him, because it's like rejection is such a big thing. Like you hear no like all like way more than you hear yes.
So true.
And so ever since I was little, I feel like I've had a good like grasp on the fact that like I always say rejection is God's protection. And like if something doesn't work out, I always like stay focused on like, well, there's a reason why God is protecting me from something. Or if like there was this one movie that I like really wanted to do, but I was like, and it didn't work out, and I was really sad about it. But then like Christmas Chronicles came along, that was like would have been at the same time, and I'm like, that was meant for me, and then that other project was meant for someone else. And so definitely having, you know, such a strong relationship has helped me to like, it's really easy to get jealous of other people or feel like that should have been me and stuff like that. But it's just kind of how it goes, and you have to know that like God is bringing you to the right places for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think what you said about Young Life is really interesting for me too, because I mean, like you said, I feel like I've always had a strong relationship with God, but Young Life is, I don't know, kind of brings a whole different side. I think the thing I find interesting is like, I think you can say you have a relationship with Jesus, but it becomes more personal. And I think when you find the more personal side, I don't know, for at least me, I find that that's where I've like really grown in my faith. especially through high school. Like high school's not it's not an easy place to navigate, which is why I think what you've done is so cool because especially going back and forth between Hollywood and high school. High school is hard enough on its own.
Yeah.
Like having and I guess it's a blessing too, but getting to go to Hollywood, come back and forth, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's obviously you've done that really cool. What do you think? What do you think the hardest thing about like balancing your faith like in Hollywood? Because there's parts about Hollywood that aren't like always God centered. What's been the hardest part with that?
I feel like a lot, like the hardest part for me is to like know that everything he's doing is like for a reason, and like it's really easy to get down on yourself and be like, just like kind of feel like, oh, why didn't they like me? Like, is there something wrong with me? Like, is it have something to do with my like looks? Is it like, what was it about me? And it's really not personal. And like having my faith with Jesus too, like has helped me just feel better about myself because it like to stay focused on him and seeing other people in the industry too. That I'm like friends with. Being here, it's hard too because when I'm here, I'm like, oh, I have friends out there, and then when I'm there, I'm like, oh, I have friends here. So I really think using my platform and like kind of sharing my relationships so that other people can be inspired too, and like wanting to help them out the way that like, because it's really easy to see my friends in the industry fall short and be like, oh, like I'm not good enough and all of that kind of stuff. But it's really easy to fall into that negativity of like, I'm not good enough. But if I'm like sharing my relationship with them, I hope that it can bring them to like a better state of mind.
Yeah, and I like what you said about like sometimes he closes doors, but that brings along other opportunities. I think that's really cool that you've gotten to experience that.
Yeah, I think like a lot of times, I don't know, and a lot of times we want like things to go the way we want to, and I don't even know that we realize we're doing it, but sometimes like, or at least I've found like with myself, like if I want something bad enough, it's not that I'm intentionally saying like I know that God doesn't want that for me. I might try to push it. But I think the blessing that God does is, like you said, he closes doors. And I think truly that's a blessing because if he didn't do that, that might not be the way you're supposed to go. So I want to jump back a little bit. When you said you got to go on Christmas Chronicles too, did you ever think that was even a possibility?
That's a really good question. I didn't. Like after we were done with Christmas Chronicles, at the end of every project, it's so sad because you create like such like tight bonds with everybody and like you become a family because you're with them every day for like 3 months straight. And so it's so sad. And I didn't really think about it, but I remember like hearing when there was going to be a second one, it was so exciting. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be like a family reunion. Like, it was so cool. And I really want to do a third one. I really want to. And everyone asked me, are you going to do a third one? And right now it's a no, but I'm really hoping it'll change.
You think there will be a chance there ever is one again?
I think there's a chance, but I don't want to get people's hopes up because I only say that because I really want there to be a chance, but I really have no idea.
I'm all for it.
So.
I'm all for it.
That sounds awesome.
So you've worked on Christmas Chronicles, and then you went and did Clifford. Were those books that you ever like read growing up, or was that kind of was that a whole new kind of territory?
I was definitely familiar with like Clifford, and I do remember my grandmother like reading my mama. She'll hear that and be like, I'm mama. My mama would read me like some of the Clifford books and stuff like that. But I remember hearing they were gonna do a live action. Like my first thought was like, wait, isn't Clifford a big red dog? I was like, how is that gonna be live action? But it was a lot of fun to film because they had a puppet. It was like honestly cool. Like a giant Muppet. He didn't have like hair, but like, and it was controlled by like two men with like were inside of him like controlling him, and it was literally like just a giant Muppet. It was really crazy. But the guys who controlled him, they like really studied like the right movements and like the different emotions. So it kind of felt like there was a dog. It just like wasn't like fully alive, but they did a really good job like controlling him that it kind of felt super real, which is kind of weird.
I was gonna say, is it weird working with like kind of a puppet almost?
It was very strange, and there were some scenes where like there was this one big scene towards the end where I had to be like sobbing because I was like saying goodbye to him, and for like that scene it was just a guy holding the head and like moving the head, and it was so strange because I had to be like hugging it and like petting it and like sobbing saying goodbye to this thing in front of me, and it was very hard to like kind of be like, okay, like just pretend this is like my dog at home. Like I just had to envision like I was saying bye to my own dog. But it was really cool. And like the puppet was actually red, but for some of the scenes where they would get really close to your face, they put like a gray, like, I don't even know, like sheet or like mask over it, because the red would like reflect on us. And it would like kind of have this weird like red light on our faces. So they had to like cover it up and make him gray for some scenes, which was kind of interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, is it weird to get yourself to like have to cry when you're literally just like you said, petting a puppet? Like is that hard to kind of like get yourself to do that?
It is kind of hard. Like the night before, I'm always thinking about like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Like I like get to set and I like try to stay in that space and stuff like that. And I'm mostly thinking about like my like methods most of the time to be sad and stuff is just thinking about if I was fully in that situation, like picturing my own dog or like thinking about like how I would feel if like something like sad happened to me. And it is kind of hard. And like they do have tricks on set too to get my eyes to water, which I'm not afraid to like be like, yeah, I'm gonna need that. But it is pretty hard, but I just kind of think about like just getting in like a sad space and just thinking about like if my dog actually was getting shipped away, like how that would make me feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you got it.
What's been your favorite place to travel to so far through acting?
That's a really good question. Honestly, one of them is probably like New Mexico, which sounds like it was like very like empty and stuff, like we were kind of in the middle of nowhere, but the one like cool thing about it is when they would have like the hot air balloons, like that was so cool. We could look out the hotel like window and just see a bunch of hot air balloons in the sky. That's cool. But honestly, like Mexico, that's like the only time I've ever been was to work, and it was in January, so it was not super nice weather, but it was really cool to at least like go. And like we filmed one time like in the middle of the woods, which was kind of cool. Like I'd probably say like Mexico.
What's the wildest thing you've gotten, or the coolest thing you've gotten to do on set?
Ooh. Honestly, for Clifford, there was like a scene where it was called like it was Mr. Bridwell's tent where like she first got Clifford, and there were a bunch of other animals in there. And like I got to hold, have you seen Night at the Museum?
Yeah.
You know, the monkey in it? They had that monkey on set.
No
it's
way.
The same one. And her name's Crystal. And I got to have her on my shoulder, and she like licked my face.
No
and like she would
way.
slap me because she had to do that in Night at the Museum. So she had to like, that was super cool, I would say. It was kind of surreal because I've always loved that movie. But honestly, like that doesn't really have anything to do with like actually filming, but that was just a cool like off-screen moment.
Were you shocked when the monkey did that?
I was a little, but they told me, they were just like, do you want her to slap you? I was like, yeah.
That's kind of surreal in a weird way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I mean,
crazy.
if I was gonna meet a monkey, I think that's the monkey I'd want to meet. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Honestly.
I mean, you've gotten to work on like so many different projects. And I guess when you're looking back, is there a role that like you want to play that you haven't played yet?
Ooh. I really want to be a superhero. Like I've always loved like comic books and like Marvel and DC, and I've always really wanted to be some sort of superhero. I really hope that happens one day.
I think that'd be
Pretty
probably
sick.
It's probably top on your list, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love Marvel. It's really sick what they're doing over there.
Yeah. So you're a senior now. Do you want to continue acting? Is that what you want to do after high school?
Yeah.
Or do you want to like go to college and be like do something completely different?
I really want to keep acting. I definitely like, it sounds like very cliche, be like, it's my calling, but like I've always like loved it so much, and like I definitely see myself like continuing to do that. And I really ultimately want to direct one day. I don't want to I don't know if I want to be like a director, but I definitely want to be an actress who like also like directs some films. Yeah.
So are you planning on going to college after this, or just sticking with acting full time?
Right now, I'm just sticking with acting full time. I mean, college is like cool because you can always like go back and do some online classes and things. But as of right now, I'm just gonna stick with relaxing, and like hopefully things will pick up in the new year.
Yeah. So if looking back on like kind of all the different projects you've done, what's kind of the biggest lesson you've learned from being on so many different sets?
I think the thing that sticks out most to me is when I did Big Little Lies, and it was like my first like real like big, I feel like, opportunity. And I was on set one day with Reese Witherspoon, who was playing my mom, and it was like a dinner scene. I can't remember, I think we were like outside and a fly like fell in my drink. And I was like scared because I had to like drink out of it in the scene and I didn't want to. And like she could tell that I was like kind of like quiet and like felt weird. She was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Well, there's a fly in my drink." And she was like, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell the prop master, we're going to call him over and you're going to tell him, 'Hey, there's a fly in my drink. Can I please get a new one?'" And she's like, "You can do it. You need to stick up for yourself." And so I was really nervous. She's like, you got it. She's like, "Can you," like she called him over for me, but let me be the one to say like, "Hey, can I please get a new one?" She's like, "Don't be afraid to like stick up for yourself. Like you can't help it. Like don't be embarrassed." Like I feel like that's been my biggest lesson, is to like really be able to speak for myself and like stand up when I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And really, our last question for you is, if you look back and like from all the stuff you've done, what's really your favorite memory of being on set?
I've loved everything I've done. I feel like in the Slumber Party, which I filmed it 2 years ago, and it came out last summer on Disney Plus, and it's now nominated for a Children and Families Emmy Award.
So crazy.
I'm so excited. It was such a surprise because it came out during the strike, and so I couldn't post about it, and we had no press and no premiere or anything like that. So I'm really excited, and I think that's so cool that like now God's giving me the opportunity to like celebrate it, which we never really got to do. But honestly, that whole project is like, they filmed it super fast. It was like a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
Which is like crazy. And like it was all kids on set.
Sure.
And that was just super fun because I got super close with them. And we were like staying in the same apartment building too. And so some of my favorite memories are just like after like set and like on the weekends, just like hanging out with them and like getting to share this experience with them, because now we text all the time, and it's like such a special thing in my heart, and the fact that I get to share it with all of them is like super cool.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Man, that was really awesome. Thank you, Darby, for letting us just talk to you for a little bit. Dude, she's done a lot. It's not even funny. And the crazy thing about it is, yes, she's done a lot of projects, but it's with who the actors are. I mean, those are a lot of people's dream actors, and she's knocked out a lot of them, only being 18. It's just honestly crazy. She's super humble, super kind, and we just really appreciate you giving us the time. Luke, what were some of your favorite parts about this interview?
Yeah, I think one, it was just really fun to film. We were really excited to have her in the studio. I think you nailed it. Like, she's done so much, and she's only a senior. She's got so much ahead of her, and we're really excited to watch. I mean, hear the whole behind the scenes of the Christmas Chronicles of Clifford. I mean, that's not stuff you hear every day. I think that was really cool. Guys, we would love you to go watch some of her other movies. She's in Benji, Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, Clifford. Those are all on Netflix. And then The Slumber Party is also on Disney Plus. She's in Big Little Lies. She's in so much more. But yeah, I mean, I think she's incredibly humble, and we really can't wait to see what's next for her and her journey. Guys, thank you so much for hopping on the first episode of the Twin State Podcast, dropping on YouTube. We have a whole year and a half of episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please feel free to go check them out. We love all you guys. God bless you. Peace.